Okay, am I on?
Yeah, but we're just kind of seeing a shadow in your
Curtain behind you.
well, the light. I think it's maybe the light behind you. We're just kind of seeing a shadow right now.
Okay, that may not change. I'd have to get up and move the entire system here, because this is where I sit. Let me see if I can turn the light on, and that would be better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Before you get started, Iris, I wanted to say a few words about you. I met Iris many, many years ago. She's part of the Tea Party group in Jonesboro, Craighead County, and along with Bob Hester, who's part of our group today here, and Debbie Pelley. And, you know, I get a little choked up. Debbie is not doing well, you know, health-wise. But you know, between Iris and Debbie, I tell you what, the accountability to government has always been in good hands. And Bob Hester in Jonesboro. And they've inspired me over the years. And we're really, really pleased that Iris and Bob have taken the bull by the horns and said we want to be part of the Transparency in Government group. So they formed a group here recently, although they've been doing great work forever. And so it's just I'm just so pleased to have you, Iris, and wish you could be here. I know you're not feeling well, but we wish you the best and look forward to hearing your comments here. And thanks for being on.
Well, you're welcome. This is a lot of fun. I have listened the entire day here, and this has just been amazing. It's been great. Just really been great. I have very much enjoyed it. And Joey, we have known each other a long time, and we've had a lot of fun in different areas, haven't we?
Yeah.
Especially with Debbie and Bob. We just, you know, are just little troublemakers. As I listened to all of this today, I thought the one thing that I didn't really hear an awful lot about was instances where you couldn't do an FOI. And I got involved in one of those several years ago, and I'll get to the little book in just a minute. I got involved in one of those several years ago when we had a man with a camera show up at our tea party to film us. And that's okay with me because we actually put out a public invitation to everybody to come. But I was kind of intrigued, and I know he was. I actually had taught him during my first or second year at Montreal. And so I went over there and asked him, and he said he was there at the governor's behest to videotape our meeting. And I said, why would the governor care about our meeting up in Northeast Arkansas? Well, he didn't know. So after the meeting, I made some phone calls and couldn't get any answers, so I filed an FOI. And after several days, I called the secretary and I said, what has transpired? And she said, well, the governor said that's part of his personal papers and he wasn't going to respond. And I said, okay. I said, well, then he won't mind if we make this all public and send it all to the newspapers around the state. And the next day I got a phone call and they let me know what had happened. And actually the governor said he had nothing to do with it, but he had a nephew who did, and our local state senator had. So that became a problem then with our state senator, and a couple of years later, we unelected him and we hired Dan Sullivan, and we've been very happy since then because we really think highly of Dan. So that's that little story about not being able to get information from certain people in the state. Okay, my section deals with page 42 and 43 of the little booklet. And I'm kind of like the rest of y'all, so I understand adults can read this. What I thought I'd go over was some of my personal experiences with some of these examples. And I've had personal experiences with a lot of them because I was a teacher for 35 years. I taught everything from 7th grade through freshman English in college, secondary English. So I believe the first one that I wanted to talk about was, as a school district permitted to release the home addresses of public school employees. One day I was teaching and I got a phone call, and I was teaching a 9th grade English class, and I got a phone call during class time, and I stepped out to take it. And it was a friend of mine who was a fellow teacher, and she said, Iris, she said, they put all of our information online that the school district has on their website, and all that information is available. And I said, Anna, yeah, that's fine. I said, that's part of the transparency we had. And she said, no, you need to go look at it. And when I did, they had put it online, but they had simply scanned our contracts, which of course had our name, our addresses, all of our personal information, our education, which is legitimate, they can ask for that, and it also had our signatures on there. And I thought, okay, that might be a problem. Plus the fact that we didn't need our names and addresses being spread out there, around town. What I did was I did a copy and paste on our signatures, and we could lift our signatures off of the contract there as they had it online and simply drop it into a document. And I think most of you that are aware of identification theft realize how dangerous that was. And I thought, oh my gosh, they could drop my signature into any kind of a contract or anything, and then it looks like I've signed it. So I contacted the school, my principal, and I said, please come down here and take a look at this. And he saw what had happened. And he said, they're not supposed to do that. And in the meantime, I had quickly looked at several different districts who had not done anything like that. They had not simply photocopied the contracts. They had pulled off the specific information that the state was asking. So I contacted the assistant superintendent, and I said, y'all really need to do something about that. And their attitude was, it's okay, don't worry about it. Well, it's not okay when you endanger people's identification online. So I had to get a little bit assertive, and I said, you need to come over here and visit with me. And one of the assistant superintendents came, and he was a little ugly. He said there wasn't anything wrong with this that they had done, and my principal, who had come over with him, said, oh yeah, there is. He said, go in here and look at what she can do with this. So I took him in there and showed him how you could lift the signature off and put it on any document you wanted. And he still said, there's not a problem and we're not going to mess with it. And so I had to tell him, okay, you're not going to mess with it. I understand that. I said, at 3 o'clock when the school is over, I said, I will be leaving at 3:15 and I will go straight to my lawyer's office and we'll file a lawsuit. And so this was at 2:30 or so. About 3 o'clock, I got a phone call from the superintendent's office and said, everything is offline, we're going to redo it all. So they didn't even adhere to this Part B, that they're not allowed to release the home addresses of public school employees. They hadn't even cared about it, and that's very frustrating. The next one, can a superintendent meet with the school board in executive session to discuss the possible dismissal of an employee? Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I've been in schools, 4 different school districts in Northeast Arkansas, and I don't ever remember a superintendent not being present when a student or a teacher was being considered for dismissal. So that's pretty, I'm sorry, you're probably going to hear my dogs bark. I'm at home, I'm sorry. The next one is, can a superintendent hold a series of individual discussions with school board members to poll members and thereby arrive at one decision before a public meeting? Absolutely not. But that's what they've done in the past for years. It was kind of common for them to get together. And we knew that because I taught in a couple of fairly small districts, and it wasn't hard to find school board members and superintendents sitting down at the local diner visiting and talking. And of course, when they came back into school and there were decisions to be made at the board meeting, they were all in agreement. No discussion, just they were in agreement. So everybody knew what was happening. But yes, they cannot poll members anymore. And of course, that also involves how many can get together at one time. Okay, most schools release records of disciplinary actions taken against students. And no, we're allowed as teachers very severely limit any kind of information involving students anywhere. So the school district would be in violation of the Federal Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. And that one is one that is very strictly adhered to and has been the majority of the time that I taught. Okay, the next one, are school board retreats considered public meetings? And I think that's funny because I actually taught at a school where the school board took a retreat to Colorado skiing.
Wow.
Now, I'm sure there wasn't a single school board policy, a school employee, or anything that was discussed during that trip to Colorado. But how would we know that? So, to me, this is a weak area. It says, if the retreat will involve discussion of official school matters on which foreseeable action might be taken, then yes. Who determines that? And how do you know when the school district is in Colorado that that's happened, unless there are laws that I'm not aware of that would keep them from going on a retreat somewhere like that? Okay, the next one, is there a particular notice requirement with respect to school